Hello, Gary Hernandez here, and welcome to Cane Self-Defense from Master Gary Hernandez. This is just a quick cane tip of the week. I had an individual contact me over the weekend and had some questions about training with their cane using a heavy bag, and they wanted some information on what's the best way to go about it and what should they get. Now, as we were talking about this, I asked a couple of questions that would help them figure out what's the best bag to get because it's really going to be a personal preference. And I was kind of telling them certain things that would help them figure out what they wanted to put in their house. Now, first off, you got many different kind of bags, but you really have two primary ones. You have ones that are going to hang, whether it's from a rafter or a beam, or you have a metal tripod type thing that'll hold those heavy bags. And then you have the other ones that are more for the ground, like the Wave Masters. So once you establish whether you're going to hang it or whether you're going to have it as a Wave Master, to me the Wave Master is easier to move around versus unhooking and trying to find another place. So once you figure that out, then you want to figure out what kind of bag. There are many different kinds. You have regular Wave Masters, smaller ones. You have XLs. You have ones that have body shapes to them. And you have like the Bobs here. And Bob, if you don't know what that means, stands for Body Opponent Bag. And speaking of that, this is the original Bob from Century. I bought this in 1995. I had this for 29 years and it's still here. So it tells you how durable and well made they were back in the day. I don't know about today, but back in the day they were made well. And after 29 years, it does have a little bit of insulation comes out sometimes, and some of the screws back here got torn up, but it still works. And I beat the crap out of it. I've had it in 5 different schools in 22 and a half years. Then you have the newer ones now have the XL where they have the pants to them, and then you even have the Bob Verses, which have the legs attached. And the difference between a lot of these bags also is the fact that there's going to be a weight difference in this very much compared to this, because with these you're either going to put water or sand, and they're going to be around 235 pounds, give or take. You can do the math and figure that out, or do the research. This one here, you're going to put 3 sandbags in the bottom base, and it's supposed to max out at 25 pounds each. So he's only going to be 75 pounds plus whatever this guy weighs here. So it's definitely under 100, but it was meant to be knocked over, grappled with, and taken down. So once you establish whether you want a hanging or a floor-based bag, then you got to figure out, do you want the body shape and do you want a regular one? Then you got to figure out, do you want to put water or sand in the base if you go at one of these. And I went with water because it's easier to empty the water versus the sand. I can just wheel it outside, kind of empty the water out, and then put water in it with a hose later. Sand, you're either going to empty and leave the sand, or you're going to have to find something to put sand in and then transport it with you. So that's entirely up to you. One of the suggestions I have, if you're going to be putting this somewhere, let's say you're going to be, now if you're a martial artist, or you're a school owner and you're setting up your school, you already know what you're going to do. You're a pro at this, so you don't need my advice. You got that, down to a science. But if you're somebody brand new and you're going to put this in your house and you're going to figure out, well, am I going to put it somewhere in my house? Am I going to put it in the garage? Am I going to put it in a patio? Or maybe I found one at a yard sale. I'm just going to keep it outside in the backyard. Well, if you're going to put it somewhere that's on concrete, a suggestion would be to put some kind of mat or carpeting down, because I've had these on concrete, and when you go like this, they make pretty good noise, but they make a lot more noise when they're on concrete because these are filled with water. Not to mention, over time, you could take a chance of the concrete, especially if it's uneven, the rough exterior, and the water and shaking could damage the bottom of that, and you want to be careful with that. Remember, we're not talking about right now snapping these bags, and these bags are all well designed to hit. But you got to be sure also you're not going to break your cane. So that's a whole nother video. But we're talking about bags right now for training. So again, once you establish what you want to get, and you don't have to, but I suggest if it's not a carpet area or something, put something on underneath it. Now you want to also see where you're going to put it, because these will move. They will shift. They will slide. They will rock. So sometimes, especially if you're not using a cane and you're hitting it with your kicking it or punching it or kneeing it, you could knock it over. So you want to make sure it's not going to fall and damage anything or go through a screen and patio if it's out in the, something like that. Just be careful. Make sure you have a good radius where it's not going to damage anything. So now that you've figured all that, what kind of bag, hanging the ground, what kind do I want, body or regular, water or sand, what's underneath it, where's it going to go, what am I going to use it for? Are you going to use it for your cane? Or are you going to use it for kicking punches? If you're using it for your cane, you got to watch out in your house, where do you have it? Am I hitting the ceiling? Am I hitting the lights? Stuff like that. Now you can also buy attachments and put stuff on here to give yourself a face if you don't want to go with one of these. And I'll talk about that in another video. So once you establish all that and you have everything down, then you want to figure out what happens if I have to move it around the house a little bit, because they get bottom heavy. Something like this, even with the 3 sandbags, it's not 100 pounds. You can pick it up and you can move it around. It's easy to move. But something like these, they're going to be very heavy in the bottom. I've seen people, try to do, the bag might be low and they're trying to do this and they're trying to slide it. Well, you can eventually slide it, but it's going to take longer and it's going to be a lot harder and you could get hurt. Simplest thing in the world to do is, remember, they're either sand or water based on the bottom, so they're heavy on the bottom. Bring up your top portion, raise it up. Do not stand on it and lean back, but simply hold the top, walk backwards, and now you can roll your bag to, whether you want to go 3, 5, 10 feet, or maybe to another room. You can roll it. Of course, you have to get through the doorways a little bit. That's going to have to take a little bit of maneuvering. Once you find the location, don't just let it go, because it's going to bang and move around. Just simply walk it, and there you go. Same thing on the XL. These got more water weight than that, so it's heavier. Don't stand on it, lean back, because you and the bag may fall. Simply grab, and this one doesn't adjust, it's one height. Simply grab it, walk it back. Don't go too far where it falls, so you have to pick it up. And by the way, when they fall over, I'll show you what to do in a minute. But from here, you're going to roll it like if they did the pyramids. I'm sure they didn't pick up the stones. They somehow did a leverage. And you roll it to where you want it. Once you have it where you want it, then you walk it down. Now, one of the worst things I see, especially younger people when they're training in a martial arts school, if you knock your bag over, and let's say I knock it over and it falls. I've seen people come here and try to do this and try to do this. That is the worst thing. You're going to hurt your back. Come over here to the end, bend with your knees, and gently lift and walk and set it down. It's that simple. So hopefully this tip helps. If you get an opportunity, please subscribe to the channel. It does help us grow. We appreciate that. And when you get a bag, have fun with it. Enjoy it. Gary Hernandez, thank you very much. And we will see everybody real soon. Good night.